My brothers and sisters, what is going on? This is Steel Sermon in the house. Tuesday afternoon, another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. Link is posted in the box below. Been a while since I made a Pens video. So now that the off season is here, you're going to be seeing some more Pens content. I know the Pens won last night in overtime against one of the worst teams in the league in the Anaheim Ducks, but honestly, I'm not impressed with it. I'm really not. This Pens team, so inconsistent, so up and down, so hot and cold, with absolutely no in-between. I just don't understand it. And I really don't know who's more at fault with this. I don't know if this is the front office because they cling on to outdated or aging players, or because they think that the trio still gives us the best chance at winning. I don't know if Mike Sullivan's coaching style is starting to become stale or if it's starting to become exposed. I don't know if it's the net minding every night. It personally, in my opinion, it's not fair to put all the blame on Tristan Jarry. I don't know if it's the defense, although the defense has looked stellar at times this season, but an inconsistent defense will get you nowhere in this league. I don't know if it's lack of creativity or lack of puck command where the Gino line or the Sid line's out on the ice. I don't know what to pin it on. The chemistry, the lack of focus, the mentality of the passers that these guys have. I don't know what it is. But whatever the case is, there's something not right with this team. And I think it's a combination of coaching, and I think it's a combination of the front office. It really is. We should not have extended Chris Letang, who thank the Lord is recovering fine from his stroke, so please keep that up, Letang. But if I'm being honest with you, I'm not pulling any punches. It was a big mistake to sign him, to re-sign him, let alone for 6 years. He is not helping this defense. It's doing more harm than good to our defense. The trio, Sid, Gino, and Letang. On paper, it's like, yeah, the Pens are still a legit contender. They still have 3 of the best players in the league. This is still a Stanley Cup team. You sure about that? Because we know the Pens can score goals. There's no question about that. We know that they can put 4 or 5 goals in the net every single night. There is no question about that. But what good is it doing when you're slow on the ice, you lack the strength, you're starting to show some fear, you're starting to hold back on some opponents, and the focus is just not there? Because look at the standings where the Pens are in the Metropolitan right now. Not even the Metropolitan, the entire Eastern Conference. You look at a team like Boston. They've been phenomenal this season so far. They're 34-5-4 on the season with 72 points. 72 points, and it's the middle of January for Boston. I mean, have they lost some regular season games? Yeah, but they've been consistent all year. The top 3 in the Atlantic in general are consistent. Toronto's been consistent. Tampa Bay's been consistent. You know what all 3 of them teams have in common? They all rely on their farm, and they all have smart front offices that will supplement their core players and bring in fresh new faces. You look at our division in the Metro. We knew Carolina was going to be good this year, so Pens fans, I'm telling you right now, forget about trying to catch the Hurricanes. We ain't catching them this year. They're miles ahead of us. They swept the season series against us, so forget about trying to catch them. Forget about trying to catch the Rangers. They're better than us. The New Jersey Devils, the biggest surprise team in the league this season, they're better than us this season. Apparently, the Islanders are better than us because they mopped the floor with us earlier this season. And just as an added bonus, we can't beat them in the playoffs for some reason. They're better than us. We are debatably better than Washington. Debatably better than the Capitals. The only two teams in the Metro that we are fully better than are the Flyers and the Blue Jackets. And honestly, that is not something to pump your chest about because both them teams suck. This Pens team is either really good or really bad. And there's no in between. You start the season off strong with 2 dominant wins, and then you go on a 7-game losing streak. You follow that up with a 7-game winning streak. Then you lose 3 more in a row. And then you win. I know these aren't accurate. This is just hypothetical, but you get my point with the Pens. Then they win 8 more in a row. Then they drop 4 or 5. Then they win 5 more in a row. They drop 4 more in a row. I have no clue what this team is anymore. I really don't. We should not have gone to overtime last night against Anaheim. And it's for the same reason that we shouldn't have gone to overtime a bunch of other times this season. It's because this team does not have an identity. And every single time the Pens take the ice now, I don't know which team I'm getting. Is it going to be the Pens team that mopped the floor with the Tampa Bay Lightning and lit them up for 6 goals? Are we going to get the Pens team that scored 11 goals against Detroit last year? Are we going to get the Pens team that goes on 6-7 game winning streaks? Or are we going to get the Pens team that gives up 6 goals in a period against the Buffalo Sabres? The Pens team that drops 5 in a row. The Pens team that can't defend to save their lives. I have no clue which team this is. And I know we're currently the second wild card in the East right now. And if the playoffs began today, we'd be in the playoffs. But just like with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pens are starting to catch on to this, just like with the Steelers, it should not be accepted for the Pens to just go to the playoffs and get knocked out in the first round. We have not won a playoff series since 2018. And granted, it was against the Flyers, and don't get me wrong, I ain't complaining about that. Anytime we beat the Flyers, I won't complain about that. But that was the last time this team won a playoff series. If the playoffs began today, we'd be playing Boston in the first round. The Bruins would absolutely shank us in the first round. It wouldn't even be close. The Bruins are faster than us. The Bruins have better chemistry than us. The Bruins find ways to win games. And more often than not this season, we've been finding ways to lose games. We've been finding ways to blow games. We don't blow them all the way in most instances, but you can feel it when we're up 3-0 and we end up winning in overtime by a goal. Or when we're up 2-0 and we end up losing 3-2. Or even last year in a game against New Jersey, we were up 6-0 at one point against New Jersey. We won 7-6. So I really don't know what this team's problem is, but this inconsistency better not continue. Because if you ask me if this team is a Stanley Cup contender, I'm telling you it's no. This is not a Stanley Cup contender. We are barely a playoff team. And I know people say, oh, you're a spoiled Pens fan. I never denied I wasn't spoiled. When you go to the playoffs 16 straight years and win 3 cups during that time with 2 of the greatest hockey players to ever play the ice, you expect excellence from your team. So no, I'm not denying I'm spoiled. I expect this team to be a Stanley Cup contender. Your team can never win enough. If I don't root for the Pens to win the Stanley Cup every year, why am I tuning into them? Why am I covering them? Why do I hope they win it? Why am I recapping them on YouTube? It's pointless. Yes, I expect excellence from the Pens, and they have been anything but excellent this year. Let me know what you think down below. Still Sermon, check it on out for the day. May God be with you all.